messing around. Hey, babe.
Yeah, babe.
We got an exciting episode today.
Very exciting episode today.
It's very exciting. Do you want to talk about it?
I do want to talk about it. We have the one, the only, our beloved Miss Zooey Deschanel with us today to talk about Elaine's big day.
Pew, pew, pew. Pew, pew, pew. How are you, Zooey?
I'm great. I'm so happy to see you guys.
So here's the thing, Zooey.
You're both looking great.
Thank you. That's just
Thank
cocoa
you.
butter.
Just want to say, first off,
Before we get started, have we talked to you about the fact that we've been trying to get Taylor Swift to make an appearance on this podcast because of this episode? Have we?
Oh, because she's busy. I think she's busy.
Just like I've heard, she's got a few things happening.
I think she's gone a little bit going.
But I feel like if
going
anybody
on?
could make it happen, you could make it happen. I just feel like you have
I
that
don't
kind
know.
of pull and power.
Oh, that's kind of you to think that about me. I really don't know. Like, I feel like so here's my feeling about Taylor Swift. Like, I absolutely freaking love her, and I like never want to like ask her for any favors because I just don't ever want to be like,
Yeah. Because she could come on the show and it could be a horrible time for her.
like, what if she has a bad experience?
What if she's like, it was me at that bar in New York?
I know.
Yeah, it was
get
her
out of
trying
here,
to kick Lamorne out of the bar.
I get it. I get it. I get it.
No. Yeah, again, I'm the worst person at asking people for favors. So
You know what? Me too. It's a really interesting thing when you have friends.
Isn't it such a funny thing?
It's a very strange thing. I'm always just like, I don't know if I can, but maybe I could find someone who would feel comfortable because you feel like people are always being asked of their time. It's true.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And everybody has like, I feel like I have like very few things that would like break through that, like the instinct to protect any like not that no I'm not protecting anybody, but
No,
I'm just like
I know what you're saying.
I'm just like always like I just feel bad ever asking anyone for anything.
Yeah.
Isn't it so weird? I will not ask for favors. In fact, this is funny because when I was like a teenager, I stayed with my parents' friends when they were out of town who had like a kid my age, and my parents just like forgot to give me lunch money for like 4 days or something. And I didn't ask for lunch money. So I like went and the dad like gave me some cookies and I just ate a cookie per day for lunch to like, because I would refuse to ask for money. And I didn't tell my parents I needed money. I don't know why. But that's how resistant I am to asking.
Like it's in my hardwiring.
It is like I will not.
You'd make a terrible street performer. You would make a terrible street performer.
The worst.
I'm doing it for free,
I'd
you guys.
be like, don't. Yeah, no, I would be. Yeah, no, I'm not a busker.
Yeah.
By nature. But yeah, so you got the 10th best thing after Taylor Swift for this episode.
We got the best thing. We've got the star of our show.
Yeah.
So we're so grateful to have you here. You want to do a quick recap? You want me to do it, Hannah?
You do it. I loved hearing your silky voice. Let's go.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Mess Around with Hannah and Lamorne. Today we are featuring the star of New Girl, Zooey Deschanel. And we're off. Elaine's big day. Elaine's big day. Very, very important episode. It's Cece's big day, actually. It is her wedding day. But Schmidt is convinced that she doesn't want to go through with it. So he recruits Winston to help him sabotage the wedding. Now they take it way too far and they release a wild badger that ends up wreaking havoc on the reception. Meanwhile, Jess and Nick are struggling to decide if they should call off their relationship. And oh yeah, Chevrang, that sneaky little man, he might be in love with someone other than Cece. Here we go.
Woo!
Okay, let's jump right in. Jess is the maid of honor in this episode, and right away in the beginning, I love this beginning opening scene because it gives you a good glimpse of what the dynamic is, especially now that your quote unquote father is here. Rob Reiner is here.
Right. Yeah.
I thought it was really, really funny to see Schmidt's telling Winston, don't touch him. Jess really wants this picture. Nick is being told to get out of the picture completely. What do we remember
Rick is being asked to get out of the picture.
I mean, here's the thing that's so funny is like Rob Reiner's character is supposed to hate Bob. It's supposed to like hate Nick. Yeah. But Rob like loves Jake. Like loved him. Like I feel like more than he definitely liked us all for sure, but I think he liked Jake the most. What do you guys think? Do you remember that he like really liked Jake?
I do remember that. I remember him. I feel like he doesn't like me. I felt like he doesn't like me.
Oh, of course everyone likes you except that one lady.
Rob was so nice to everyone, made everybody feel so loved. Like,
yeah, he's so nice.
He's so. You thought he didn't like you, Lamorne?
Well, here's why. Because I did something stupid. It's almost like how when Max and Jake thought it'd be a good idea to ask Dennis Farina really stupid, pervy questions about being a detective. And now he treated them afterwards. I decided to do a take in one of the scenes where I called him a meathead. Now that's a throwback to All in the Family. That's what
right.
That's what he was calling the show. He looked at me and said, "Oh, do you think I've never been called that before?" And he goes, "Try again." In the scene. So it crushed me so much that I was so awkward around him. And I don't know if he felt that awkwardness. I mean, he was very nice and kind afterwards, but deep down, I feel like he's like, this guy's a hack.
No,
I can't imagine him thinking that.
I don't think so at all. I think he was like trying to like give it back. You know what I mean? Like I think he was trying to like.
You're like, just love me. They just love me.
Like, just let me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So with this picture, apparently, I went and found the table draft of this episode and then the production draft of this episode. And as it was scripted, it was supposed to end on like this super funny picture of like Nick half out of it, of like little like Schmidt making a weird face, you having like a great smile, and it was supposed to be this really weird thing. And I feel like it was one of those things with like alts and extra takes that would just kept going on, that it ended up just being like, I'm not doing it. Everybody walked away. And then it's just the dad taking a picture of his like sweet daughter.
I think you're totally right. I think we tried it that way and they might have taken a picture of us like all kind of half at what, like, Lamorne, you were in there. Yeah. Don't you think we probably I think we pretty much tried it a few ways, and that way that it ended up was kind of just
100%.
Ended up being the most funny.
Yeah, I definitely think it was funnier the way it ended up, for sure.
Yeah. It felt like a lot of improv going back and forth, and then I think they were just like, that just works, that feels real, that they would just be like, we're not doing it, we're out, goodbye.
Yeah, exactly.
So we get to the reception. Yeah. And Winston sees this badger. Zooey, I'm not 100% sure if you remember this moment, but the badger peed on me and also on my stand-in, Brian Crump.
So, like, that's just, like, par for course if you have to deal with an animal, right? Because I just feel like you don't like dealing with animals. And it's like a curse of being Lamorne because you don't like it. And for some reason, they're like, let's make Lamorne the most, like, the character that deals with animals, like, the most of all the characters. I love animals. I, like, never got to work with, like, an animal, basically.
Me too.
And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, we would have loved to have those animals, but somehow... Just like they like basically never let me be in the dance sequences. Right.
Mm-hmm. They could have given anyone
it's
a
like
cat.
The same thing.
Like, hello? You couldn't give me the cat?
Give Hannah a cat. Give Hannah a cat.
Yeah, it is true. So you got the badger that peed on
although I would have said no to Badger.
Yeah. And they had a fake one
what
too.
What was the badger like?
Why were you that close
very
to the
like
badger?
Well, he was in his cage.
Yeah.
He was in his little crate, I guess you would say. And remember in that episode where we're pushing him through the vents, at parts of, some of the time it was a fake badger in there. You know what I mean? But when they would show the actual crate, they would have, Bucky, the real badger in there. And I remember one time he just was like, I'm spraying.
Oh,
and
he did a lift and spray. Like he skunked you.
He skunked me, essentially. That's what he did.
Oh, God.
So I had badger urine
Did you
all
have to
over me.
take a shower?
No, but when I left the set that day, a lot of other female badgers were like running up to me, like, rubbing their bodies up against me. I was like, "Ooh, I got these badgers everywhere."
You're like, I've never had so much badger game.
I know. Damn.
Wait, we shot this episode like partially on the Fox lot, and then was it down like MacArthur Park area, or was it like at that hotel next door?
It was a hotel next door to our studio.
The hotel next door.
Yeah.
That hotel next door that is now like condemned. It's not. I passed by it.
Holy crap.
Recently, and it's like totally closed down. It was like a Hyatt or a Hilton or something.
Yeah.
It's gone?
Very convenient for shooting at Fox. Yeah, it's gone.
Weird.
Was that the same hotel from Die Hard?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say the Die Hard thing too. You and I share a brain at this point.
It's on the same the Die Hard building is down the street.
Okay.
But yeah, it is a lot of that stuff was in Die Hard because what's that tower? Something Towers?
Yeah.
Something Towers?
Willis Towers.
It's like Nakatomi
Willis
Towers or
Towers.
something like that. And
Yeah,
you can,
Nakatomi.
we would stare at it
Nakatomi
all
Plaza.
the time when we were going into like work and like on our stage. And this episode feels like it's got a lot of Die Hard in it. Like the ducks
It's
and the
exactly
crawling
like Die
and like
Hard.
it felt like the vibe of it had seeped in.
You're so right. The crawling through like vents, building vents is so Die Hard.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Nothing like crawling through building vents.
I feel like they
And I
just
did
couldn't
it.
like escape it anymore.
Make you recall Die Hard.
You know, if anybody wants
Yeah.
to call me for an action film, I can crawl through vents. We've now seen that happen. I can
Send 'em
get
the
peed
tape.
on by badgers.
I actually think you'd be like a great action star, Lamorne.
Thank you. Thank you.
You really would.
I've been telling you this.
Like
Hannah.
one of those like funny action movies.
Can you can get this greenlit, Zoe? You just have to say okay to it.
Can I?
Yes.
Can I produce it?
Yes.
I want in on this cash.
Yes.
This Lamorne
It's gonna be a
cash. You just do your like workouts. Your little workout.
fitness instructor gone rogue.
Oh my God, let's write this. We're doing it right now. Hannah, do you want to be in it?
I will be the animal handler because
Okay,
I feel
Hannah,
like I have to be the buffer.
Yes. You could wear one of those like cool outfits that they wear at the zoo.
That's right. This is great.
That would look cute on you, like a jumpsuit.
And as long as I don't have to wear heels anymore, you guys, I'm in. So
No.
this is
You
wonderful.
wear sneaks. Animal trainers
I'll
don't
be
wear
full
heels.
safari suit. The animals.
Great.
We're creating your next opportunity. I mean,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
we're all,
This is
the gang's
incredible.
back together.
I just want to produce. I want to be behind the scenes. I just want to sit there and eat takeout.
I would. That's why I want to be a producer. I don't have to put makeup
Yeah. Yeah.
on. Now, let's jump back into this. You, Hannah, you're all dolled up. You're getting ready to. Cece's getting ready to get married, and Jess obviously is in there, kind of calming the nerves a little bit. What do you remember? What do you both remember about this particular moment? Was this on stage, this particular part, or was this actually at that same building?
I don't know where it was shot, but I remember again because I looked at the script and there's like this whole thing where Zoe, you were the one that's like wrapping the sari. It's like around the rabbit.
Yeah,
And
we
tuck
were
the
on
thing.
stage for that.
Yeah, and it was like this
I
whole big
remember,
thing, and you made like this sorry joke, but not sorry joke. It was all scripted, which didn't make the show.
Yeah.
Because I think they had so much other stuff that they needed to get to.
I mean, it was a packed episode.
Yeah.
So this whole bit, but we shot it. I do remember shooting it. I remember that because they kept asking me about, like wrapping the sari. And I've never worn a sari before really in my life. Like maybe a couple times, like in India at something and someone else put me in it. But like, I've never really worn one.
It looked great on you.
It was, it was great.
Super
I just
pretty.
didn't have, that was the one interesting thing is like to feel like, wow, there's this big representation of this Indian wedding. And that's so cool that I get to be part of this big moment of representation. And I'm also like not the best person for it. Because I know like the least about it. So, but I remember that. I remember you trying to wrap the sari and the jokes that were being made. And it was like actually a really sweet, like Jess Cece moment. But it didn't make the cut because of all the other things that had to happen.
There was a lot of Cotton Eye Joe shenanigans.
They're like, we need to hear it 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
We have to. I just remember being on set, and I remember Max, like seeing Max go like, Cotton Eye Joe. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yes.
I was like, I can't believe we're doing this.
Yeah. I remember that scene, that moment. It was at the door. It's at the doorway when he's looking at you and he's singing the song. When I rewatched it last night, I went, I forgot about that moment. That is such a ridiculous delivery of a line.
Ridiculous moment. I like live for that. Like I live for it, but I was just like, this is crazy.
You know what I will
I can't believe we're making this work.
You know what I'll say about this? There's like a couple moments where like Jess comes out and like really gives it to Schmidt, right? And it's just like, no, like you are not messing with this girl's wedding. This is not happening. Get over it. It's really, and after like when he says like, oh, with her eyes, she told me with her eyes, this is done. And it's rare that it happens, but it was a moment where I could see like you, Zooey, like fully come through because you're like a solid girlfriend. And I feel like you would go real big sister on somebody in real life and be knock it off. This is not a joke. This is my friend's wedding and get it together.
I definitely would.
Yeah.
I definitely would. Also, like, this is like the beginning of some of the like the redeeming they had to do later because he is dating such a lovely Merritt Weaver's character, Elizabeth, and she's like so lovely, and they had to really, I think season 3, didn't they have to kind of like backtrack a bit with Schmidt because it was not cool what he was doing.
No, it wasn't cool at all. And they start this episode with such a sweet like couples moment where she's like, it's a 3-hour ceremony, you know how your bladder gets weird, go pee. And he like gives her a sweet look. Like that's like real deep relationship stuff when you even you're like, you know how you are, you can go. And he's like, thank you for knowing how I am.
They didn't even try to make her like hate, like, you know, unlikable.
Right. They couldn't.
I mean, she's pretty generally likable. No, they can't.
Yeah.
She's pretty likable. So, problem.
Yeah, that was the nice thing, I think, about having like a female creator of your show, too, where she was just like, this is a Schmidt problem. We're not going to sit there and offload it to like Cece or to Elizabeth. We're just going to keep this heat on him, and he needs to sort it out, which is really nice that by the end of the episode, when we get there, it's like you never see even one bad look between Cece and Elizabeth. They're just sort of like, ooh, balloons.
But it must
Do you
be
have
nice.
balloons that just went through your screen?
There's all sorts of parties that happen on my screen, and we're not sure why, but sure.
But here's the thing. It must be nice, because I don't think this is real life. Obviously, it's a television show. But it must be nice to be Schmidt to go, let me take my pick at which woman I want to be with at this woman's wedding. Do I want to be with
male
you?
Perspective, male perspective.
Like, what?
That's right.
Like, you get this choice, bro?
At a wedding?
Yes,
at her wedding.
The woman up there standing up there.
Wedding.
I'll decide if I want to be with her or not. It's
I mean,
crazy
I'm
to me.
kind of grateful that at the end of the episode, they never made it that he like picks, because that would have been very gross. It would have been a very weird, gross moment. Like, the redemption need to happen. And I think that's what they kind of pushed over into the next season, where he had to do some earning. Right?
Yeah, he had to do some earning.
Yeah.
And what I love,
which is cool. It's one of the things I like about the show. You know, it's like, you know, years past when we ended, like, I look back and I'm like, wow, the writers did such a good job of like creating these like fun characters that you like to see in these kind of like fun episodic kind of situations. It's very sitcom-y, but there were really serialized storylines where you were watching the characters have these arcs over seasons. And I think like that is something special about the show. And I think I love it.
Aw, we all love it too. Here's the thing.
I think I love you guys.
Aw, I love you more. We're going to go to commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about how much you love us, and also about Schmidt and Winston coming together to screw this wedding up, prank style. We'll be right back. And we are back. If you're just tuning in, to this particular podcast, there is something that we do on this show that Hannah has been dropping the ball on for, I don't know, since the beginning of this show. Where's the bear? And this woman can't ever seem to find the damn bear. And this is a total myth, and she likes to keep this train going. So we're going to keep this train going. Hannah,
Zoe,
have you found this
you
bear,
know this
or
very
just...
well. Where's the bear bit. I'm going to say season 2. I may have forgotten about it a lot, and it seems like the writers kind of did too, and props and everybody else. And
maybe it's not a real thing.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Ding, ding,
there we
ding,
go.
ding,
It's
ding,
over.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding,
Problem
ding,
solved.
I think this might be the last time that I ever look for the bear. Maybe this was all just a prank on me for the past couple of years, because I'll tell you what,
it was, and it was created like many years before you started this podcast.
Yeah, full disclosure, for the first time ever, I didn't even look.
Well, Hannah, I got a surprise for you.
You're forgiven.
Oh, wait, did you see one?
You found
did you
it?
find one?
A badger is in the bear family.
Get out! I
made that up,
so
but it could be true.
distracted by the badger. That's a tiny bear.
Oh my God,
that's a tiny little bear.
It's a tiny little bear. So speaking of their pranks and animals, Chevrang gets on this white horse. Is that a tradition? Is that a thing in Indian weddings?
I literally just told you I'm not the most qualified person to talk to about Indian weddings.
I was talking to Zoe.
Never been one. Zoe.
Oh yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally. I know, because I'm an expert.
Because I've been to an Indian wedding, did not see a white horse, and I just thought it was funny that step one in their pranks was to almost kill Chevrang by letting off an air horn by a horse. It's like, this is ridiculous.
That was a wild prank to play to like startle a huge animal. Like that seemed like a little crazy, and just reacted appropriately.
Oh, in Hindu weddings.
In Hindu weddings, the groom often arrives at the wedding venue on a white horse or in a white horse-drawn carriage as a part of the tradition called Gauri.
Oh.
So,
I like it's not like it's not like the bride getting to arrive in a carriage. It's the groom.
Yeah.
I have heard of it before. Right. I've just never seen it, but yes, I do believe that happens.
Okay.
Don't try to spook horses, guys, because it's not a nice thing to do when somebody's on the horse, because then the horse will go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It was funny to watch, like, whoever was doing the stunt, like, just fully shrink and cower behind the head of the horse. I did see that part where we just, see the feet sticking out. I was like, that was good. That was good covering. That was definitely not Satya on that horse in no way, shape, or form.
Okay. All right. Let's jump back into it. Now, Schmidt says he will call off the shenanigans, right? But then he instructs Winston to get crazy. He blows the air horn. The horse rides off like a psychopath, right?
And Nick is trying to do the right thing because he cares about his relationship, which is very sweet. Yeah. He tries. But Jess doesn't believe him because Cotton Eye Joe starts to play. And the prank is too good. It actually they made some sense out of it.
This is one of the crazier storylines. Just want to let's take a macro view. Yeah. Crazy storyline. Okay, we're back.
To duct tape the soundboard, she's like, "That's an intelligent move, and you're the smartest prankster there is. It had to be you." Then that's how he kind of gets done for.
One of the things I'm just wondering, like, what did the writer of Cotton Eye Joe, think of this? They're like, I never thought my song would, inspire an entire episode, a 21 minutes of television.
Yeah, and now people who are big fans of the show, this is, a song they play at their weddings now. Cotton Eye Joe gets played at weddings now because of this episode.
Should I play it at my wedding?
Come on now.
Should be my wedding. Should I walk down the aisle to Cotton Eye Joe?
It's Cotton Eye Joe, and what's the thing that
the chicken dance?
The chicken dance.
Chicken dance.
Season 1.
Bill Collins. Groovy Kind of Love.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Look at New Girl.
The really slow version.
Yeah.
New Girl, all up in your wedding.
If you tried to pull that prank at Zoe's wedding, Lamorne,
If you bring a badger to my wedding, I'm going to freak out.
Well, let's talk about it for a second. Let's talk about it for a second.
Okay.
You know, there
All
are
right. What are you feeling?
a badger at a wedding, not really a bad idea, right? Because it's a cool looking pet.
Tell me why.
People can pet it. People can walk. People take selfies with the badger, right?
Okay.
The problem, I think.
Tell me more.
The problem is when you
I want
decide
like
you
10...
want to. I get you 10 right now.
Yeah, tell me.
10 reasons why.
Okay.
Badger's
10
cute.
reasons why.
A badger's cute.
Okay.
If a badger pees on you, then other like lady badgers will come and like be attracted to you.
Right? I would just like to say, I'm kind of still stuck on the fact that you shared earlier that the badger peed on you, you didn't take a shower, and then you were like just like back at work.
And then what you do is you multiply that, you know, and then you got 10.
Okay.
Bye.
So a weak case for the badger at Zoe's wedding.
No badger at my wedding.
Maybe not a badger at your wedding. Maybe not your badger at your wedding.
Okay.
But in this particular case, you again, in typical New Girl fashion, you know that these characters are idiots. So Winston would do something like that. Yes, he would go into the ducts and proceed to try to sabotage this wedding, which is exactly what happened. Right?
Sabo the wedding.
Now, Nick tells Winston that the plan cannot be that thing. You cannot drop a badger on a priest. And, Schmidt then goes back. He tells Jess that Nick wasn't in on it and that Nick was saying that Jess means so much to me, yada, yada, yada. And that causes, a little bit of a romantic moment between Nick and Jess again, right? Like a little let's forgive each other moment for this. Why would you think this of me? Why do you think I'm a child, et cetera, et cetera?
My dad said so.
Yeah. There was like a really sweet moment when you guys were kind of having that in that 2-shot where you guys were like head to head and he's just like really pushing for the answer. And then, like Jess is going through a bit of distress. She's like trapped in a duct. There's a badger on the loose. Her best friend's trying to get married. And this guy's like, let's have a real talk.
Which wouldn't stress me out, but it stressed Jess.
To sit there and be like, like to have this real big relationship chat. Like in that moment, like I was just like, read the room, literally, buddy. And then for you just answered honestly. And like he couldn't handle the honesty. It didn't mean that the character didn't want to be with the other character. You're just answering the question. And I thought pretty gently. Then a very sensitive male ego just was like, I guess we're done. If that's how you feel.
Well, we have to have some conflict in the middle of the episode,
Yeah, sure. I just was like, wow, it was such a small thing. But then it makes you think about like so many relationships do end over just like tiny, small misunderstandings.
Something really weird.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's so
damn
true.
light bill. Ugh.
I'm just remembering now that the first episode of season 3, I'm still wearing this sari, and I'm in Mexico. I mean, I don't mean to skip ahead, but like I just had this flashback that like they were like, so you have to wear the sari again, only you've turned it into like beachwear.
They shredded it basically. You were in like this.
It was shredded. Yeah, it was like
vibe.
A short skirt. Yeah, shipwreck. I had to get a tan and like some like beachy hair kind of situation.
And we shot it down in Marina Del Rey. I remember that little weird strip of beach that we shot it in. That beginning of season 3 in the same outfit.
So funny.
Where you guys kind of like
at the Jamaica Inn, I think the place was called.
I remember that location. We're like, wow, we're back and this is where we're starting. We didn't start like in the loft. It was like this it was a really weird feeling of where this season ended us and then where we had to start from. Do you remember getting like fitted for that sari? Did you have to go down to Artesia or did they bring it all up to the...
No, they brought it up to me, but because I think it was like less involved than your situation, which was quite involved because you're a bride. But I was obsessed with the color of my sari. Yeah. Like I loved it. It was so pretty.
Yeah, it was really beautiful.
I never get to wear those on these shows. I never get to wear a sari on the show.
You never do?
Yeah, like you guys.
Not even one?
Like y'all want to play with pets and stuff like that, and they always put that on me. But when it comes to saris,
and
I never get to wear
saris.
So
sorry.
Not sorry. What I think is cool about this episode is that it starts with one person Schmidt obviously sees a little bit of doubt in Cece's eyes, which sets off a chain of events, which activates Winston, which then activates Nick, which then somehow ends up with Jess also in the ducts. And it starts with one idea of a person looking in someone's eyes, and it ends with a collapse of the ceiling onto the top of the wedding with all parties involved.
A collapse of the entire inner ducting system of a hotel.
Yes.
I also love that, just that female approach of just you know what? I'm going up to the ducks. Let me just, it was just such a full, I don't know, mom moment of you know what? Forget it. I'll handle it. I will get to put everybody straight and figure this whole thing out, which is why the hard truth of it, it's Jess that falls down and collapses. And
another great moment from Monica Branger, my stunt double.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. And what's cool about it is that it ends up.
Yeah.
Because of this, I'm not 100%. If this didn't happen, I'm not sure. Shivrang then steps up and says, "Okay, I'm not feeling it either," because this big collapse allows everyone to fully be themselves and just be honest and go, "Hey, listen, maybe this wedding isn't for us." And you say, "I'm in love with someone else," and then he says, "So am I." And I think had that roof not collapsed, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
I love that Taylor Swift was just there.
She was just in the area. She was doing a meeting at Fox.
You know what? She was just doing a meeting at Fox. So what's funny is that a lot of people have brought this up because, spoiler alert, Taylor Swift runs off with Shivrang.
Yes.
A bunch of people have said because Jess is a Swiftie, and we established that at least later in the show. Also, I'm a Swiftie too.
Yep,
just so you guys know. We all are. We're Swifties. We're a Swiftie family. But a lot of people brought up, they were like, but wait, is Elaine different from Taylor Swift? How is Jess a fan of Taylor Swift? But Elaine, is Taylor Swift? Is it Taylor Swift? I was it's a really good point. I think Elaine is that. There's a woman who's a doppelganger for Taylor Swift.
Yeah, so it's a long lost twin, something.
And I think that's Elaine.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah. That's the only explanation, because otherwise the whole place would have gone up.
None of it works. But she's played by Taylor Swift in this.
And you ever
show.
hear of the Mandela effect? It's when you think something happened. The Mandela effect is when someone thinks something happened, the general consensus, that the whole population thinks that there was this thing that was on a cereal box, for example, but then you look back, it was never the case. We just, for some reason, had that idea in our mind.
Oh, Kazam or whatever?
Yeah, like that. You know what I mean?
Starring Sinbad?
Yeah, but it's that wasn't a thing.
You know about this?
Yes, I remember that.
Right.
I thought...
I know it happened.
Right.
I'm sure I love this movie.
Yeah. And in this episode... No.
There's no movie named Kazam starring Sinbad.
Why do I think that there is, though?
We all know it happened, but it didn't.
So in this one, I had a full Mandela effect moment when I was rewatching it. Shivrang picks up Taylor Swift and runs out of the wedding with her. In my mind, it was the other way around.
It's because that take happened. That take, I talked to Satya about this. So we had Satya on a Loft meeting, and I asked him about it. And we talked about it because that take did happen. They did it, 5-6 times this way. And then I think is a funny pitch, they did it the other way around. Where Taylor picked up Satya and ran out. And I think we all fell out. Because it was very easy for her to do. And we all laughed.
Taylor is tall.
Yeah.
She's 5'10" or something. And he's not super tall, right?
And so it was very easy.
Okay.
And they thought it was super funny. And they fell out laughing. And I just think it was one of those moments where everybody in the room just laughed.
So you remember it because it was cute.
That's right. I think all of us. But Satya thought it happened like that. Him and I were talking about it. And he's like, oh my God, when she carried me out, that was the greatest moment. And when I rewatched it, I was like, oh my God, it didn't make the cut. They went with another take. But I think we all remember it because it did happen. I'm the Sinbad thing.
But you guys, do you know that I remember like very well, because she wasn't on set very long. Like she just basically like came in and did that little scene. But I just wanted to share that like she came in and was in the hair and makeup trailer, and they had me. This is just classic because when Prince was on, I was also like not babysitting, but they were like, be like the host of the set and go, or hostess of the set and go and like greet them. And everybody was like, do that with Prince, like go be the hostess and like sit and, you know, hang out with Prince. And so when Taylor was there, everyone was like, Zooey, go sit in the makeup trailer with her. And my makeup artist, Georgie, she was like, oh yeah, I'm totally cool using Zooey as makeup artist. So Georgie did her makeup and she was like, first of all, like Taylor Swift, like, if anyone ever says anything mean about her, I'm so mad because she is such a nice person. She is so cool. I've never seen her be anything but like absolutely so lovely and down to earth. And she was like, she really liked my like the like lipstick that I wore, and she it was like Benetton, you know, Benetton. Yeah. It's just like the most old fashioned lip tint that's been around forever. And we had that like Benetton, and you go get some. It would look good on you. And we had one for her, and I remember like Georgie gave it to her, and she was like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." And I was like, "Oh my god, that's cool!" Like Taylor Swift was like excited to just get like this little thing of Benetton. Like she was unbelievably nice. So like, let's set the record straight that Taylor is awesome.
Super sweet.
She is
and
awesome.
Everything that you imagine her to be, that you hope she is, she is.
You know, it's really funny. I remember that. I remember Georgie coming out and almost feeling like a little like shocked. She was like, I think there was like this just this thought that she was probably going to come with her entire own team, have a whole set of like handlers and a whole thing. And she didn't. She came in, she's like,
I think she had maybe her hairdresser, but she had like Georgie did her makeup, or she came with her hair done or something. But yeah, she had like, I don't think she had even like, she might have had like one person with her, but she was very, very down to earth, no entourage, like not very chill.
Yeah, I remember that too. I remember just like the chat around set being like, oh, she's just like the most easy, lovely human. Everything you hope her to be, she is exactly that.
So true.
Yeah, I remember that feeling too. And Seth shared all of his stories because at that thing when they run out down the aisle, and you know the scenes carries on. Like you and I had that conversation, which is super sweet. Yeah. And that happens. And so they had to like be behind the door now and just like wait until, you know, Jake Kasdan called cut. So he's like, they would just be back there. And he said it was so sweet because she'd be like, I think that was really good. Did you like that? I thought that was really funny. I think it worked. I think this was great. And he was just saying how like sweet it was that they had just like this little like kind of just actors bonding in a moment after a take, waiting for the scene to be done, having a moment. Yeah.
That's so sweet. I love hearing that.
Yeah. I also forgot like how sweet that moment was between our characters at the end. I forgot about that whole little exchange, and it's such a sweet like Jess CC moment. And there's so many moments and little like looks in between, and it just made me realize how much I miss acting with you, because it was like such a sweet moment.
I miss acting with you guys so much. Yeah. I like have to say it's like one of those things that's like your show ends and you're like, okay, well, I guess it's like another chapter, like over, but it's like, you guys are like my family. Like I got to act with you every day. Like I love seeing you. I love getting to work with you. And so it was like, that was like the saddest thing for me. I mean, just not getting to be with like my buddies. I saw you guys more than my family, but really, like you really were like, I mean, you still are family to me, but like I consider like the core cast of New Girl to be like 100% my extended family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Max
you
told
guys
me,
really are.
Max coming into this had done a lot of, recurs, guest stars, he had done a bunch of television.
Oh yeah.
And he told me, he goes, in the final season, he goes, it's not always going to be like this. He
remember
goes,
him telling you that too.
Yeah, he was like, this is a very different, very special type of deal. It's not always like this. And you go on and you do however many shows afterwards, and you look back and you go, damn, we had it pretty good, didn't we?
Yeah.
We had it pretty good.
I know.
Yeah. But so let's close out this episode. There's two things that are happening here. One, Schmidt has to choose between Cece and Elizabeth. I thought that was, we touched on it a little bit before about how ridiculous it is. But
he gets a choice.
He literally runs away, right? He literally
I think though,
runs
but
away.
that's like, as writers, they had no, like, again, if he made a choice, I think that it would not have been like, I don't think the fans would have responded well to it. I don't think that like empowers the women in the scene. I think that would have been weird. I will tell you what, I remember that because they had me kind of just doing like busy work, right? When then I kind of walk over and be like, yeah, she's right. Like, you got to figure this out. You got to choose who you want to be with. This isn't fair. But I'll never forget doing this busy work. And there was a bunch of background actors, all Indian. And I remember one of them saying to me, they said to me, you know, this is so exciting for us to have so many Indians, like, you know, on a show like this. This feels so important. This is so wonderful. You know, even though you're not Indian, like, it's okay. We accept you as one of our own. And I was like, and it was one of those moments, you know, when you're so caught off guard, I just said, thank you. Like, I didn't like even have the words to be like, you didn't
correct that?
I'm half felt complicated in that moment. Well, like they were just like, they're like rolling and this person like says the thing. And I was just like, I was so happy to be of service, you know, and I was just like, you know, and then it was like shuffled and moved. And then we moved into like the stuff that I was doing with like, you know, Schmidt and Elizabeth. But I'll never forget that moment where I was like, I am. This is an authentic casting moment. I am Indian. This is why this is an Indian wedding, because of the actress they cast in this role. It wouldn't be this otherwise. That would feel weird. But that moment always stuck with me where they're just like, we'll accept you as our own. Because this is such a powerful moment for mainstream sitcom TV for Indians. So thank you for just looking like you do. And I was like,
oh my God, that's so funny.
You're very welcome. That moment.
Another cool moment, there's always this back and forth between Nick and Jess. And I remember I had this conversation with Hannah on a previous episode where I was so confused. I was like, where are we in the Nick and Jess saga? Because
I'm confused too.
I was like, what? And then again, I had that moment rewatching it and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I think I'm caught up to where we are right now in the will they, won't they, are they, are they not? But it was a cool moment. What do you remember about that moment at the final little, I guess, back and forth before you all drive off together?
Yeah, that was so sweet. Your speech is so sweet and heartfelt.
I'm trying to think what I remember about it. I do remember being like, wait, what? We're doing what? I think, you know what? I think they had to, like, it was kind of a strategic move because it's like, obviously that relationship was so important and they don't want to like completely just like there has to be this like tension between, like there has to be like problems because otherwise like if it just like you put them together too early and they're just happy, then like you don't want to spend that like tension too early, like right. Like it's only season 2. So I think that, but there has to be that genuine stuff. And really like truly like the Jess and Nick so genuinely do like love each other. And like I also just like loved working with Jake. Like I found like, even though like he's so funny and he can be so silly and all that stuff, but like just he really it's wonderful playing those like very sincere moments with him. So like I really enjoyed like that relationship was just it was a gift. I think like that getting to play the Nick and Jess storyline over that long was so amazing. And I think this was like, you know, a great moment in that relationship. And then also just like the fact that like it was a real kind of cliffhanger. We don't know. Yeah. Right? Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, I
thought it was great. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, I looked at that again. I looked back at those scripts and there was a whole scene where Nick runs into Rob Reiner on the way out. and they kind of like hash it out. And Nick shares like his like, well, okay, I might be all these things, but I'm all these other great things too. And he kind of gets lost in the sauce, like typical like Nick Miller style. And then Rob Reiner's character goes like, I think what you're trying to say is you're going after my daughter. Like, you better go because she's leaving. So there was that big thing. And then I feel like in the table draft version, there was, it was Nick that came out with the speech of wanting to uncall it. And then, you know, like you say it too. And none of those things ended up what we, you know, ended up, we maybe they shot that Rob Reiner thing because that was in the production draft, but how they flipped it at the end. And this is just, I mean, you were really incredible in that scene because all that other stuff that they'd done to kind of lead up to the uncall it moment disappeared. So you just had to, in this, like, you know, because they only had 21 minutes, in this very short space, do that flip and just sell it with like heart and emotion. And it's really beautiful and really sweet. And you really, like you just said, feels like, oh, this is like a real relationship. Now they have like real bumps. They have their doubts. They're still going to try to go for it because you can see how much they want it. But it was like you had to do a lot of work in a very short space, you know?
You know, I really appreciate that. And one thing I do love about like our editors was that they, instead of like picking the like, I do feel like when push came to shove and we had like this short time to fill, you know, like short time to like tell the whole story, that they would choose the genuine moments, you know, rather than the like, you know, exposition that wasn't important or, you know, a crazy silly moment or something, that they would like go for that heart, which is so nice. And it's like always kind of what made the, you know, the show kind of its special blend of things.
Yeah, that's right. What you just said is like so funny. I just got goosebumps when you were talking about it, just because they could have done that whole thing with Nick and the dad and the whatever, and they're just giving you the like uncall it, and then they kiss at the car. But instead they gave you that little bit of extra room to like breathe and to like just show your eyes and to have that moment of connection of all the unsaid things and do that instead, which is what I think was the magic of the show. But having them be wise enough to make those choices too. But that's only because they had it to choose from, and that was you doing it.
Thank you. That's
it's so true.
I love you guys.
Love you
and
too.
on that note, we'll be right back. And we are back.
We're back.
Now it is time for the mess around, babe.
Babe.
Yeah, Hannah, you're screwing up. How'd you mess that one?
You know why? Because here's, can I tell you where my brain went? Is like two things I thought that maybe it's important to say to our listeners is one, this character of Elizabeth is named after Elizabeth Merriweather. One. Two, Elaine's big day is a big reference to The Graduate. And their big wedding moment that obviously happens at the end of The Graduate. And then Elizabeth Merriweather, I read in this interview, was talking about how she just thought instead of like Schmidt having this big graduate moment of being like, Cece, you're for me, of actually having like Shivrang have somebody go like, you're for me. And like this big like funny moment to happen that actually like kind of, you know, derails the wedding, as opposed to having a big like graduate moment, but they still kept the nod in there with calling Taylor Swift's character Elaine.
Aw, I never knew that.
There you go.
I never knew that. So for the mess around, we're just going to answer one of these questions.
Okay.
And I think we may have talked about this before at some point. Have either of you ever done a prank that was too big, or have had one done on you? I know I have.
I have, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
you've
let's
done
hear
one, or you've had one happen to you.
Yeah.
I've
done one.
Let's hear it.
I mean, I participated in it.
What was the prank?
Let's hear about it.
I don't even know if I should. It's really like where, you know, where you do something, you think it's funny, and then the person takes it way too seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just my friend was trying to scare his other friend, like as a joke, and like put like some like little like hand drawn signs on his car, like pretending to be stalking him or something.
Oh.
And we were like, ha! And we made these little signs, but they were like so. I felt like so obviously like fake. But the friend got like so upset that he like put cameras on his car.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh, abort mission! Like, this is not cool." Like he's scared, but then he was like, he didn't want to tell his friend because he was worried he would be so mad at him, which he probably
Did
would.
they ever find out, or he just thought the stalker went away?
I don't know because I haven't seen these people in years. This was a college age kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a back away. I was like, hee. I was like, let's put Tic Tacs on his car. Like, I don't know. I was like, we were like, yeah, it was really bad. Like in that the person like got like actually
Like
nervous
worried.
about it. What should have happened was that it should have been disclosed that there was like a group of people playing a prank.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't disclosed.
Right.
No.
But it wasn't my friend, so like, you know, I participated.
Right.
Okay.
But I feel bad about it. So sorry, God.
Your conscience is just
Forgive me, Jesus.
This person now has a complex. This person now has 50 security
I
cameras
bet
surrounding
he
his
knows.
home.
This was so long ago. I
Yeah.
bet he knows. I bet he knows.
What about you,
Yeah.
Hannah?
Oh my gosh, have I ever done a prank?
Or had one done on you?
I'm trying to think. I think Zoe and I are built a little bit similarly in the sense that I immediately just have to confess the thing. Like I can't have one person not be in on it. So I very quickly got like excluded from like any like prank committees because I just felt like too weird, too bad. I don't like someone feeling left out of the thing. I don't like, so I've only ever done like, I am like the queen of like fun surprises for people, you know, like
right.
Well, I like surprising
fun
people.
surprises.
That's fun.
Yeah, like I can do those all day long, all the lies and the layers of the things and showing up and like, but that's all like happiness. But I've never. I get too nervous that somebody's gonna take it wrong, and then I'm like in apology mode. So
I know I felt really bad about that thing, but it wasn't really my friend, so I couldn't apologize to them. So it actually put me in a really weird position where I was like, I'm never participating in a prank again.
Yeah, I get that feeling. I feel like somebody tried. I can't remember what it was. I think I was young. Someone tried to rope me into something, and I just remember like this made me feel sick to my stomach. I feel like pranks.
Just like never do a George Clooney movie then, right? Because isn't he like prank?
Oh yeah, he's
like,
notorious.
Pranks everybody.
He's notorious for that. Like
Really?
like very elaborate ones apparently.
Elaborate prank.
He gave his
pranks
friend
lean
Richard
more
Kind
into-
apparently George found a piece of artwork in a like dump, like a trash bin or something, and had it like fixed up and framed. And for Richard's like birthday, gave it to him and told him it was this really expensive like piece of art, and he had it hanging over his mantle in his house for years. And it wasn't. I forget how long it was, but apparently it was like over like a decade until he told him that it wasn't.
How is that a prank? No, you're just like that's just punking people. You're just punking people for your amusement.
Yeah.
Well, I had so recently. I'm supposed to be doing this show with Nick Cage called Spider Noir, and my manager reached out and said, "Hey, so Nick wants to have dinner with you." And I got so nervous because I thought, well, I already have the job, but is this one of those like tests? Because I heard he's a very like extravagant guy, and you know we see him on camera. He's so big and he makes big, bold choices. I was like, oh my God, I got to like really like focus up for this meeting. Now, simultaneously, I just got that Emmy nomination like 2 days prior. So I was super like, you know, impressed. I mean, you know how it goes. Like you have to do all these interviews and things like that.
So you're like super full of yourself.
Yeah, 100%. I was speaking in the third person. I was like, Lamorne's not going to meet with Nick right now.
But then alternately, like the royal we.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You're like, we might.
Yes. But I was so nervous about meeting him, and my anxiety levels for some reason just started like going through the roof, and I was freaking out about it. Now, day of, I get a text from Eric Andre, and he says, "Hey man, doors open at 7:30. You can get there around 8." And I went, "What are you talking about?" And he says, "My show. You had agreed to do my show." And 2 months prior, I had said I would do his show, but no one from his side confirmed that it was ever happening. So it wasn't in my calendar or anything. But it's the same time as the dinner with Nick. I was so like pissed at Eric, and he was like, bro, you can't bail on me. If you don't show up, it's a live show, then there's no show. You have to show up. There's 1,000 people there.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh my God. So my manager's like, don't worry about it. We're going to call Sony. We're going to try to figure this out. And she's panicking. And next thing you know, she's like, don't worry about it. Nick said it's okay. Nick said he lives right down the street from the spot that you're going to have dinner and drinks.
And he'll come watch your set.
Well, he was like, just call him when you're done with your set. And then he'll meet up with you. And I was like, okay, thank God. I go to Eric's show. Of course, it's Eric Andre, so it's a crazy, obscene, stupid show. Really funny, but stupid. Where he made me chug a beer, chug a Red Bull, and eat ghost pepper hot sauce, which I didn't think he was going to actually do that. I thought it was like a fake thing. So I tasted a good amount of it, and my mouth was on fire. And that he's got the whole crowd throwing stuff at me. It was a shit show. I'm sweating. I'm like covered in like hot sauce, and my mouth is burning. I rush over to the dinner with Nick. I get to this restaurant and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, do I smell bad? I'm sure I look crazy. I go in, I say, I'm here to meet with Nick Cage. And she goes, oh, right this way. She takes me around the corner and there are 8 people sitting at a table, all wearing Nick Cage masks. And they go, surprise. And it was my friends and my manager all pretending to be Nick Cage. That they thought this was a great idea. So for like a week, my anxiety was through the roof. I was so pissed. I turned around and walked off. I just turned around and left.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that just happened to me.
So wrong.
I know.
That went wrong.
Yeah.
It went
We'd like to
terribly
celebrate
wrong.
you and your Emmy nomination, and you're like, I now am in deep therapy.
Can I just tell you, Hannah and I would never do that to you.
Thank you.
This is why I think pranks
We
lead.
would never do that.
They lead.
It would never even occur to me.
So boy, I feel like
I
boys
would,
are usually.
Also, I would blow it.
Yeah.
I'd be like that. I'd talk to you. I'd be like, we're dressing up like Nick Cage.
Or also, if you're like, oh my God, I'm in this huge conundrum with the Nick Cage meeting, and I'm stressed,
I'd be
and
like,
I've got to
oh
do
my
the
God, it
show.
was
Be
a
like,
prank.
where's the
Don't
Nick
worry.
Cage meeting? Chill out.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Just
Don't
relax,
worry.
But also, I would have wanted to have saved you from that Eric Andre
Yeah.
show.
Oh my
that
gosh.
was like,
That was
sounds, I'm sorry, I love him, but like.
that was not the day for me to do it.
Read for your part, maybe?
I think he read for Winston, yeah. Or for Coach, maybe.
Yeah. Coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, he read for Coach, or maybe Winston once Coach was off.
Yeah.
I know he came in, and I know I saw a tape, and I know he was good, but he was not Lamorne Morris. So there you go.
Shout out to Eric Andre, the world's craziest man. He's also nominated for 2 Emmys this year, and
Is he really?
he's got my vote.
2?
Yeah, for his
2 Emmys?
for his show, for his the Eric Andre show, and then one I think best variety talk show host or something.
He
like
is
that.
also one of the loveliest humans in the world. He's so
yeah.
He
sweet.
seems very nice. He was in Trolls 3 with me.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
He was very nice.
Yeah,
Which my daughter loves, by the way.
Oh yes.
Thank you all for listening to another episode of The Mess Around. Thank you to Zooey Deschanel for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Make sure you follow us on IG at The Mess Around Pod. Send in all your emails, all your questions, all your concerns. Hannah will be checking them daily. And go get our
Don't do
merch.
pranks that are too big.
Yes. Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you guys.
Peace.
Bye. Mwah.
That was The Mess Around. This has been an iHeartMedia production. Our executive producer is Joelle Monique. Our engineer and editor is Mia Taylor. Additional production from Daniel Goodman, Wendy Heisler, and Kyle Chevron. Our theme song was written and composed by Ronald Jukebox Jackson. So we're going to catch you next time. Bye.